The right of the people to keep and wear orange shall not be infringed. Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and follow on Twitter at Cuse Militia.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. Make sure you subscribe as well. Thanks in advance for that. We've got a ton to get to tonight as far as Syracuse basketball goes. We're going to hit that up before we get into the UNC game. But first, we got to hear from the good folks over at MYBookie, of course. And if you are betting online and you're not using MYBookie, whether you're kind of a novice like me or someone more experienced like Joe, and you're not going to MYBookie to get them to double your money with house money, you got to go over to MYBookie right now, mybookie.ag. They've been in business for years. They have great reviews online, and their mobile site is easy to use. I would only recommend a service to my listeners that's been good to me. That's why I'm urging you to make your way to MYBookie. You win, they pay. They have in-game live betting, over-unders on fantasy points scored, and the most rewarding player perks in the business. MYBookie is now slammed with new bettors and wants to give everyone the best possible service. So if you are willing to wait until after 7 p.m. Eastern Time, they'll give you an additional $25 free play on deposits over $100. If you want to use that offer up, use promo code CUSE25 when you activate the offer, and you can get that after 7 p.m. If you want to sign up during normal business hours, you will use promo code CUSE. They will still match you dollar for dollar all the way up to $1,000. Visit MYBookie online today. That's MYBookie, and don't forget to use promo code CUSE during regular business hours and CUSE25 after 7 p.m. You play, you win, you get paid. It's simple. No chasing around Joey Bag of Donuts to get your money. None of that stuff. Nothing. So a couple quick announcements real quick. We've been kind of wanting to network, and I just happened to talk with a guy named Tyler Morona. He's a former Syracuse defensive end. He's a class act. He has his own show as well. We're trying to get him on this show. I would love to get him on at least a couple times before the football season ends. He's really good. He knows his stuff, and he's interesting to listen to. So if you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at Tyler Morona. It's TYLERMARONA. If you want to give him a follow on Twitter. And speaking of networking, if you're a small business owner in the Syracuse area and you're interested in getting some airtime, we want to work with you. We have a win-win opportunity to present to you where no money exchanges hands. So if you're a small business owner in the Syracuse area, preferably someone with a storefront, but we can work with that. You'd have to DM me, and I'll give you the details. You can DM me on Twitter at CuseMilitia or CuseMilitia@gmail.com. Send me an email, and we'll talk. So, all right, Joe.
Yes.
You know, bye week, football, not a whole lot happened over the weekend, really, you know.
Well, the orange and white game.
The orange and white game, Sunday. Huge announcement. No big deal, though, I guess, right?
Why not?
Girard, it's sarcasm. So, Girard, Twitter just lit up. Everybody was waiting by their phones, waiting for these live feeds to pop up. So, we've talked about Girard on here a bunch of times. We've been watching him for at least a year, right, Joe? At least since last basketball season, beginning of last basketball season. So,
last year he broke Lance Stevenson's New York State high school basketball scoring record as a junior. So, in his junior year, he averaged 50 points. Okay. Yeah.
For Glen Falls High School, he averaged 50 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists per game. He has 3,306 career points, and he's the only player in Syracuse, New York, to reach. Or in New York State, rather, to reach 3,000.
And he's got a whole other season.
Oh, yeah, and he's just now a senior. So, in basketball season's about to ramp up again there. He played for the City Rocks, 22 games so far. He's averaged 11 points a game for that. Let's see.
AAU.
Yeah, AAU. He's got 37% field goals, 35 on three-pointers, and 97% from the free throw line, which is awesome.
Same team Buddy played on.
Same team Buddy played on. Also, another one of the prospects that Syracuse is still looking to get and who actually visited this past weekend, Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah.
So he's a center.
No, that's a long shot, but it
is a long shot.
You never know. If he wants to stay close to home and wants to play with a couple of his old AAU buddies, I'll gladly take him. I think he's like the number 4 prospect in the class, so
yeah, by
usually
the way,
a guy we don't get.
Yeah, no kidding. Girard is the top 3 in shooters for the class of 2019.
Yeah.
So
pure score.
Oh, absolutely. And
no, don't get me wrong. He can dish the ball too. He can play both guard spots, but shoot, I don't care what high school you play for. If you're averaging 50 points, you can score. Right. So
well, Isaiah Stewart congratulated him on Twitter, and he quoted the tweet saying, "You're next. Don't keep me waiting," with an orange. So a little pressure. Hey, I mean, he's already recruiting. Girard's already recruiting. I mean, you can't hate on that. That's awesome.
No, never.
So so what's the backcourt look like in 2019, a year from now? You've got, I think
Frank Howard's
it's safe to say Frank Howard's a senior. You got Tyus Battle. He's probably scooting out. You got
Brissett's most likely gone as well.
Brissett's most likely gone, yeah.
Which, I mean, he's not a guard anyway, but it's just somebody else that we're losing.
But you got Howard Washington. He'll be a senior next year, right?
No, he's not a senior. No. He'll be. I think he's.
Is he a sophomore this year?
I still think he's gonna. Yeah, he was a freshman last year.
Okay.
I still think that this year he's probably gonna end up redshirting, but I mean you never know. He's probably the most far along person as far as coming back from an injury or not necessarily ready for the season. But yeah, if you lose those guys, you're talking about he's probably going to play. Boeheim's probably going to play Buddy Boeheim and Elijah Hughes down in the forward positions, as small forwards. So coming back next year, when you look at who we have, you're talking Jalen Carey and Howard Washington, and then the other incoming freshman who's committed so far, Bryson Goodine. So that the guards positions is wide open. So
it's also kind of full, right? I mean, what do you got? Next year.
I mean, technically, yeah. When you look at it, yeah. You're going to have Jalen Carey and you're going to have Howard Washington probably manning the point guard position, and Bryson Goodine's like a pretty good shooting guard.
Yeah, 69th. I know ESPN had him rated, by the way.
Yeah.
Goodine.
And they talked to Joe Girard's father and was asking about, where Syracuse is going to play him and where he's going to use him. And I guess from talking with the coaches and everything, they plan on they see him basically being able to play both positions. So that's good. Yeah. So either way, I mean, it was a good night. It was a good night, some good news. I really enjoyed the fact that, honestly, I really wasn't paying too much attention on the whole, I don't know what they call them, the Midnight Madness orange-white game, when I really didn't even know that it was Friday until Friday when I saw the stories and stuff. So on a bye week, and you got some bye stuff, we don't got a game, and then we have the inter-team scrimmage for the fans to come out and see, and then the type of commitment that we got from him on Sunday. So it was definitely some excitement for Orange fans, even though we didn't have a football game this weekend. So
yeah, the 2019 commits so far, we mentioned Bryson Goodine, 69th in the ESPN Top 100. We got Girard, obviously. I see him a lot as a 3-star online, but I mean, a couple places have him a 4-star. I think he's a solid 4-star, but I mean, I don't know what the hell they're looking at. They got on 247. He's 195. So, but the guard position though, that might be his position though too. So
yeah, it could be position, but I mean, I just think overall, it's a lot of times they look at everything. They want to look at the athleticism and the size and stuff like that. So there's probably less skilled guards out there that are 6'5" and are probably more freakishly athletic than him, but he's a real confident guy. He knows what he can do, and obviously, when you score 50 and you're out there playing on, Albany City Rocks AAU circuit, usually a pretty formidable squad. So I'm not worried the least bit. So I think it was one of those things where back in the day, Jimmer Fredette, he was a guy like that who could score from Glens Falls, and he got under-recruited, ended up going to BYU, and he ended up making a pretty good name for himself. And he's over in China right now, actually making some good money and winning some championships. So I don't think Boeheim was going to let somebody from that area
fall through again.
Yeah.
Fredette,
when you
I
can
think,
score,
too,
you can score. Fredette could light it up from all over the place.
And by the way, I think we talked about. I just mentioned real quick, and I don't want to bore you with this, but you brought it up. 3,306 career points.
Yeah, he'll be over 4.
Right, most likely. Fredette had like 2,400 and something and some change.
Right.
So if that's any comparison,
oh yeah, well he wasn't putting up 50 points a game, but he was a pretty deadly shooter. So
Right.
And again, like I said, once he got to BYU, built his body up. You saw what he did. So that's probably going to be one of Joe's main things. But the shooting and the scoring, like I said, he can get to the basket, he can dish, he can shoot. He's got a quick release. So I'm not too worried, especially with the people that were losing. Part of him coming here is because the playing opportunities, I'm sure. So
right.
Good school close to home, and he knows he's going to get an opportunity to play. It's going to be on him and whether or not he can prove that he can get those minutes next year or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got Goodine, John Bolajak. He's a commit center. He
already got 3.
Yeah, and Girard Bolajak, by the way, he was on 247 Sports. He's ranked 371st, but whatever.
Yeah, well, that's just one of them.
Yeah,
I mean, By Musikita wasn't highly ranked. Boeheim traditionally, especially because of the 2-3 zone, he likes those lengthy guys, and he gets those 4-year, 5-year lengthy guys who might not be able to come in and do it right away, but at the end of their time there, they end up being pretty formidable centers. So,
and who else is still out there? Let's see, Cook. He's forward. He's 39th out of 100. Qadis Wahib. These are from 247 Sports, by the way. He's 132nd.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the Cook that story?
I didn't.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know if somebody hacked his stuff or if someone was spreading. There was a rumor going around that he had committed to UConn, and he had to go to Twitter and to social media to let people know that that wasn't the case. So,
that's nice.
Yeah.
Isaiah Stewart, 4th at the ESPN Top 100.
And that's the guy.
Yeah, Coffee Cockburn, 31st out of the ESPN Top 100. These are guys that Syracuse is still, they've offered and are just waiting. Qadis Wahib, center, 132nd. And, Diamond Kerrigan.
Yeah.
He's another center. So
yeah, you never really know what goes on behind. I know exactly. John Bolajak, if he
Quincy Guerrier,
yeah. There's a couple guys out there, but once people start committing, then who knows if they don't go back to those guys like, hey, we got this guy, we really don't have room for you. I mean, that's just how it works. It's sad, it's sad as what it is. That's kind of how colleges work most of the time. Is they offer a bunch of people. Multiple people in positions, and it's kind of a race to make your decision. They can make exceptions for certain people, depending. Isaiah Stewart, I'm sure they're going to leave a spot open all the way till he commits. But all these other guys, like John Bolajak, he committed. So maybe all those other centers that are on that list, maybe behind closed doors, they're kind of getting the, hey, well, he committed, so we don't really have the room now. That's just how college is. There's not a lot of scholarships, so it's always fluid and it's always moving depending on the commits and stuff like that. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Also, all right, moving on from that. Okay, that's awesome. Welcome, Joe Girard.
Thank you.
Yes, that was a huge one that everybody wanted. And if you looked at the hats on the table, I'm going to say this now. It's easy to say now. I should have tweeted it though, but I didn't because I didn't want to be wrong. If you look at all the hats on the table, the Syracuse one was the one with the bent brim. It looked like it was put on and fitted beforehand. Yeah. So I noticed that, but when he grabbed it, I'm like, God damn, I should have said something, but I didn't care. I was so happy. So Frank Howard, he's still in a walking boot. Coach says he's doing good. He's doing as good as he could be doing.
Yep.
They expect that if all goes well, he'll be able to practice about a week before the regular season if everything goes according to plan. And, he says it hurts a little bit still, but, they're just going to have to wait and see. They're kind of in the waiting game there. I think I don't think they really downplayed it, but it's just all that stuff's kept so quiet. But Frank Howard practicing a week before games doesn't make me nervous, I don't think, at all. I think he'll be if he's healthy, then I trust him to be good.
Yeah, I think with the way that our schedule usually goes, we should be okay to kind of just let him take his time with the recuperation and getting back to where he needs to be. I don't think it was a crazy knee injury, and I don't know. I just think that he's going to be fine. We'll just have to kind of sprinkle him in until he gets fully healthy. But we have the talent against the teams that we play against early to kind of, But Jalen Carey, he sprained his ankle in that game, and he's supposed to be his backup. So hopefully that's not one of those high ankle sprains or something crazy that linger.
It didn't look,
it happened on Friday, so I'm looking at where their schedules are, even with the exhibition games and stuff that they have. I just can't see unless it's. You never know; those high ankle sprains can linger, but he should be good to go. And with the guys that we have and the experience and stuff, we got time early to kind of let guys mend up and get ready for the season. So, as far as guard situation goes, and even like forwards, looking at some of the stuff that happened, some of the stuff I read. I know you showed me some of the stuff on Twitter, some of the videos that they're being playing there and stuff like that. And just looking at some of the stats, there's some guys that kind of surprised me as far as some of the things they could do. So, Buddy Boeheim, man.
Yeah, Buddy Boeheim, 19 points. He included 4 threes in there. He won the 3-point contest at halftime. That actually went into like a sudden death mode, and he hit the half-court shot to kill it. But what actually happened is during halftime, they actually counted wrong.
Oh, really?
They actually counted wrong, and he actually won it outright.
No.
By one against Brissett. Brissett was awesome, too, in the orange and white game. 13 of his game-high 29 points were in the third quarter. He knocked down 3 threes. And also, Adrian Autry scored the last points of the game, solidifying the win for the orange team with a 3. So that's,
Junior.
Yeah,
Adrian
junior.
Autry,
Well, right. I don't think Coach didn't get out there and suit up again. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Adrian Autry Jr.
No. I just wanted to be, specified.
Yeah, but, I guess, obviously we weren't there, but, unfortunately, the highlight of the game, not the highlight, but, the biggest story of the game besides Buddy Boeheim hitting that half-court 3 during halftime, our half-court shot during halftime was Jalen Carey going down, like you said. And he was actually helped off the floor, and they said he went down in a heap. So just,
Well, that's usually what happens with ankles, man. That stuff hurts. That's just – if you come down on someone's foot, that's just something that's I've experienced it, a couple times. I know your brother has. I played with him, and he was never the same with that after. So
yeah, ankles are. I do. I was. What the hell was I doing? Oh, I fell off a ladder.
Going to get the mail.
I fell off a ladder. No, I fell off a ladder, and I rolled my ankle really hard. I landed on the side of it, and I never went to the doctors or anything like that, but. Yeah, it hasn't been right since.
Oh, no. It happened to me in a basketball game. Was going up for a rebound, came down on someone's foot, and now I have a bump somewhere in my ankle that wasn't there before. So, things happen.
He's got the, but did you go to the doctor or anything like that? That's what I'm saying. He's getting treatment. They had iced up right away. I was at work.
Oh, I couldn't go back in the game. Yeah, no, I couldn't go back in the game. I was done for that night. But, yeah.
So
they're.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. And can you imagine being there and watching him just go down and, he gasped when he hit the floor?
Well, and the thing with that, too, with ankles, there's so many different bones and tendons and things in there, and you never know what you're going to, it's...
Yeah. So anyway,
it's like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get. Let's see. Oh, the Orange will face St. Rose on October 25th. I guess that.
That's an exhibition.
That's an exhibition, right? There's two exhibition games. St. Rose, October 25th. That tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. And then Lemoyne, a week later, October 31st. And I don't know what time that's going to be, but
probably the same.
Probably the same, but when I find it, I'll post it like on Twitter and whatnot. But their first regular season game comes November 6th already. We are talking, folks, like...
less than a month. 3 weeks.
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's
so that game, by the way, November 6th game, first regular season game of the season comes against Western Michigan, and that's,
what is this?
It is what it is.
Basketball and football. Some kind of contract for it's their first game.
Yeah, right. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, what is
that?
I just realized that myself.
It's all good. I tell you what, from what I heard, O'Shea Brissett looks really good. Boeheim was talking about how he's going to be a better 3-point shooter. Obviously, he was physically just a specimen last year, averages double machine. So between him and Tyus Battle, hopefully getting a little bit more efficient, and the guys coming in, man, I'm excited. When I
was talking to Tyler, we talked for about an hour, and he brought up he can't wait to see Dolerzai. And I'm like, I know. I mean, everybody just loves Dolerzai. I mean, the kid's got the best attitude out there. He's scrappy. Yeah. He's got no freaking meat on his bones, but he's always down there. He'll dive on a ball. He just does not care. Everybody loves him.
Oh, he does all the dirty stuff. Doesn't care about scoring. I mean, shoot, exactly. Last year he didn't score until he was basically forced to.
Yeah, well, it was tournament time.
They're like, well, we're just going to leave him open. And Boeheim's like, dude, you got to shoot.
Yeah, remember how many times he would look at the rim and then pass the ball off? And you're like, he had an open shot and he'd pass the ball off. But that's a confidence thing. And
we saw that get a lot better at the end. And as you noticed, that's when we started, getting over the edge of beating those teams. That was a lot of, that NCAA tournament run was a lot of him being able. I mean, people want to, 8 points, 7 points, 12 points. Like, that's stuff that we weren't getting anywhere else but the main three. So
yeah, absolutely. So
excited.
Yeah, excited, and we'll be doing some more basketball stuff.
Oh yeah,
all the way up until we're double dipping with football and basketball.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House, the best damn college sports fans in the nation.
All right, so you can always get on the fan feedback if you want to tweet at us at Cuse Militia. I always present. You can follow us at Cuse Militia on Facebook and Twitter, by the way. And we always present a question after the game. And you can either leave your comment there or, and I'll post this again at the end of each game too, you can call 315-236-2436. 315-236-2436. And you can leave a message after the game, and that way I don't have to stumble over your horribly proposed comments with absolutely no punctuation, and I don't look like a fool, and we'll just play your comment right off the voicemail. So we can do that too.
Oh, come on. Don't blame the fans because you can't read.
It's tough sometimes, bro. It's tough. So
I mean, if they want to get, and it's another way for them to get on there, ask a question, and we'll play it, and it's just another way for the fans to be more interactive.
Absolutely. That's all. And by the way, crap, I meant to mention this in the beginning, but it's all good. The YouTube Live stuff is set up, and the number is set up, so you can actually watch on YouTube Live and call in. You could actually do that, and we're going to try to figure all that out. We're going to get this stuff worked out, man. It's a little technical, man.
No, we got some kinks to work out, but, we'll figure it out.
Like getting Joe to help me with a test run. That's one kink.
I
mean, it would be nice. He make himself available, more than once a week for 45 minutes. That would be great. But hey,
don't blame Joe Girard. He just signed.
I know. Joey, the other Joey G. I know he's got. I know he's got no kids.
Still decommit, so we better.
I know he's got no kids. He lives in a bachelor pad with his brother. I mean, I got 3 kids.
That's arguable. That's arguable.
That's true.
Arguable.
That's true. I'll give you that. All right, the polls. So I did one poll earlier in the year. There was a report saying that next year that the ACC wants their teams to schedule a couple early conference games in November. So, Joe, we talked about this. You think that's great. You're fine with that, right? You're okay with that?
Oh, I just think it helps with the when I talked about it, it was more, and I remember going to these games. But once the students leave for holiday, then there's a lot of tough games sometimes, especially non-conference. Well, it's usually ACC, like the conference games come after the new year, so
right.
A lot of times you get those kind of tough non-conference end of the non-conference schedule at home where the students aren't there, and sometimes you get those kind of dull. Like I told you before, I was at the Cleveland State game when they beat us. I was at the Wichita State game when they beat us before they were Wichita State, and those kind of teams, it's not a sexy draw. It's not a sexy name where the fans are going to be like, oh, let's go to this game while you got family in and it's holiday season and stuff like that. But if you can flip it and you can make that a Boston College or a known ACC or conference opponent, then I think that can very, very much help with our fans and the attendance at the Carrier Dome during those holiday hours. So that's the only reason why I think that that's a great idea.
And I agree, but I'd rather just get our footing, have those
non-conference out of the way.
Do the non-conference, get it done with. We know what we got, and then we can get down to business. Because although it's exciting having conference games that early, it's especially exciting. Just basketball being there and starting up is exciting. That's all I need. I don't need
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So
no, I completely understand that, and it's just one of those things that comes with rule changes. Is some people usually with a rule change, it causes a different kind of issue that it maybe might be unforeseen. So you never really know. I'm just kind of looking at the positive side of what could be a positive side of that, but you never know what's going to come out of it.
So I proposed the question on Twitter, the Twitter poll. They love our polls. The people, they love our polls, Joe.
Yeah,
and
better than me.
Every time we have our polls pop up on Twitter, people interact with the polls on Twitter. So they love it. 174 people voted in this poll. How do you feel about ACC conference games starting in November? 2 choices: too much stress too early. That's where I was. 33%.
No, of course.
33%. And the other choice was bring on those bums. Bring on those bums. Edges out. 67%. So, yeah, I get it. The other, go ahead. You got something to say?
No, I was just going to say.
I think
that. Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
You all right?
God.
Jeez,
I think I swallowed a bug. No, I'm joking.
What the hell are you doing?
I don't know.
Gosh.
No, I was just saying that I think that's one of those things where they could really, really take advantage of this during that time with everybody that comes home during those holiday years or during the holidays and everything like that. And people, they come home. I know you, me especially. If I come home and there's a game and I can possibly go to it, I'm going to try my best to do it.
Absolutely.
But that's when they can have, they can put up some family plans up there. They can kind of maybe lower some tickets, encourage the community to come out, and, they could really make it kind of a home field advantage. Because I'll tell you right now, we don't get the true home field advantage during those times. When I get so nervous when we play home games and those students aren't there, and we have just kind of a
You mentioned it last year, I remember.
And it's so quiet in there.
Yeah,
when they do that, you got a lot of kids,
got
a
all
lot
the
of people,
elderly people in there. It's like they do senior citizen discount.
No, I'm just, there's a lot of people from out of town that aren't used to being there. They're like, oh, it's just a nostalgic, let's go to a game because I haven't been home in however many years. Yeah, they're not the diehard, loud fans that you want all the time. So, it's just a way to, I think, kind of fill the dome and possibly, make it a little bit better atmosphere during that time instead of possibly losing. And if you lose, it's a conference game.
Right. True.
If you, instead of to a mid-major team that might come in like St. Bonaventure and try to screw up your stuff.
Yeah,
So
exactly, which they almost did last year. So, right? So,
Yeah.
good thing they ended up being a good team,
yeah.
the Bonnies last year.
Well,
with
I
the,
mean, we knew they were a good team, but I mean, one injury and that looks like an awful loss. So.
Right, exactly. The second poll was, we're halfway through the season. Syracuse sits at 4-2. Where do they finish? And if I could only put up four options, so I said comment with another prediction. I had 4-8. I wanted to see how many people were going to be super negative. 430.
Right.
People love our polls. People love our polls. Whenever our polls pop up on Twitter, they're like, bam, they interact with them. Like
even other Syracuse outlets do.
433 votes on this one. 4-8 got 3%. Okay, good. I wanted to put that one in there because I wanted to see. I should have, in hindsight, maybe done 8-4. Huh?
That's that loud minority.
I know, right?
It's crazy.
This one is. This I thought 5 and 7 got 8%. I thought it would get more. 6 and 6 is something I'd be happy with, but it's not where I went. 6 and 6 got 21%. I was a 7 and 5 guy. That got 68%, but there were a lot of people.
Write-ins, right?
Yeah, there was a bunch. There's a lot of 8 and 4s, and I think that there's more 8 and 4s than actually wrote in. So Dave at Orange in VA, sticking with my prediction of 8 and 4, but we'll have to win a game I thought we'd lose since we didn't beat Pitt. Okay, so that's 8 and 4 I think is a lot, but I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just I think it's a lot. At SU Oranges. Prove me wrong, gentlemen. Let's go Orange. I think she might have voted and replied. At 44 Cuse 44, he says 8 and 4. He's 8 and 4 all day. He puts the Oranges down. Slam. Done.
There we go.
So 8 and 4 was popular. I wish I'd have put it in there, but I honestly think that I think 7 and 5 with 68% out of 433 votes. I don't think that was going to get edged out, and that's where I sit. Joe, where do you sit?
That's where I sat too.
Okay.
That was my vote.
All right.
Yeah, 7 and 5. And it's just because of what I've seen earlier in the season. I think every week, Syracuse.com, they kind of update their ACC power rankings, right? And at some point they had Pittsburgh as I think the last team, but we saw where that got. They beat us, and then they went and gave Notre Dame, hell of a game. If that field goal kicker would have kicked like he did against us, they probably would have won. And but now I looked at it the other day, and the bottom three teams are Louisville, North Carolina, and Wake Forest, who we still all have to play. So I mean, it's gotta fall in our favor. But those are three teams, and then you have the Boston College, Notre Dame, and NC State, which I think people thought we were going to struggle with coming in. So I think 8 and 4 would have been probably something that I think it would have been a high if we would have won and been 5 and 1, and you would have been able to have that 4 and 8 option, and you would have put 8 and 4. It probably would have been higher, but because of the whole Pittsburgh scenario, I think 7 and 5 is where it lands. It's just funny to see all these negative posts about all this stuff, and like you said with the poll, what was it? 3% said 4 and 8, and 8% said 5, and so you only have 11% of the people that voted that think that we're not going to make a bowl game.
Yeah, that's true. Out of 433, which is
right.
What's that? 11%. So you're looking at 3366. Yeah, you're looking at probably about 70 people out of 433. Right. That's pretty decent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once again, the minority is the loudest. So
yeah, and they are because they're the ones that they push back more on social media and stuff. Yeah. So
it's all good.
And we had you said Louisville was 14th. Wake Forest was 13th. North Carolina was 12th. Florida State, this is according to, is this Chris Carlson? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Chris Carlson, Syracuse.com.
Yep. 12th is North Carolina. 11 is Florida State. 10 is Georgia Tech. 9 is Pitt. 8 is Miami. Miami fell this past weekend. 7, Syracuse sits at 7. And then Virginia 6, Boston College at 5, Virginia Tech at 4, Duke at 3, NC State at 2, and then obviously Clemson to wrap that up. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's time to give stuff away. Look, Michael, he our buddy there, if not now, then when? It's funny because I've sent stuff to Texas. I have sent stuff near Albany. I've sent stuff to Detroit. I've sent stuff to, I think, Florida. I've sent stuff, did I say Texas? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's a big enough state we can say it twice.
yeah, that's true. So, but I have not sent anything from reviews to the Heart of Syracuse. So let's hope Spudmall5 is from Syracuse. He says, 5-star podcast. This is a can't-miss podcast for everyone in Cuse Nation. Do yourself a favor and subscribe. I agree with Spudmall5. How about you, Joe? You agree with Spudmall? Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah, sure.
right?
Why
Do
not?
yourself
Yeah.
a favor and subscribe. And we don't need any, 1-star buttheads out there trying to sabotage anything, I would disown my brother if he had done such a thing. So...
No, damn, hitting hard, man.
Don't do what your mom says. And if you ain't got nothing nice to say, just don't say it. If we prefer 5 stars, and if we're not giving you a 5-star show, which we're probably not. So what
are you asking them to do?
I'm just saying, shoot me an email, CuseMilitia at gmail.com.
Look, be honest.
Yeah,
that's all.
Exactly.
Don't troll.
Exactly.
If you think we're a 1-star and you want to put a 1-star and you want to leave a comment as to why you think, then that's cool with me. Just don't troll.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you want swag, leave a 5-star and a good comment.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So the swag, this is like the Cuse crate. This thing is becoming bigger than I ever imagined because we got the koozies, we got the custom decals now going in there. We've got I've got some other stuff coming. The Blue Devil Tears sticker. Stick it on your favorite beverage vessel. Boom. Every time Duke loses, it fills up instantly with whatever you want.
Poof.
Duke Tears right there. Fresh as can be. It's like magic. So
yes.
we've got all that stuff coming. Spaldmall5. Please email us at cusemilitia@gmail.com. All right. Joe sits at 5-1 on his MyBookie picks, right? And of course the MyBookie pick.
6-1. I picked Syracuse last week. I won.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, there you go.
Special.
And of course the MyBookie pick is brought to us by MyBookie. Join MyBookie, and they will match your deposit dollar for dollar up to $1,000 if you want to do it after 7 p.m. You know the deal. You do it after 7 p.m. You use promo code CUSE25, and if you put in at least $100, they'll give you $125. They'll give you $25 extra dollars to that. So visit MyBookie online today, MYBookie, and don't forget to use the promo code CUSE. If you're before 7 o'clock, they'll match you dollar for dollar up to $1,000, and it's promo code CUSE25 after 7 if you want that extra 25 for the $100 deposit. Now you remember, you play, you win, you get paid. That's it. So, Joe, this opened up today. Syracuse, UNC at 11 points to the good for Syracuse.
Yeah, it opened up at 11 points. I don't really know how much it's moved since then. Do you know what it is right now? I like to do the live.
You want to do it live? Okay. So it's 10.5.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I'm gonna go Syracuse. I'm gonna stay with it. You can call me a homer all you want.
No. I trust your opinion so much.
No, don't get me
Joe.
wrong. This game does make me nervous, but I just think that Syracuse is going to come off this bye week, and that North Carolina has put some decent games together the past couple weeks and still kind of lost it, and they just seem like a team that can't get out of their own way. And we play good at home, so with that 1 week off and them going down and kind of giving it all they have at home against Virginia Tech, and still, I mean, they should have won that game. They lost it on their own, and it's going to get to the point here where, I mean, it's going to be either these kids are going to play for Fedora's job in the fact that they're just not playing good, or they're going to come out and they're actually going to put it all together. I know they got some guys coming back from their suspensions, and but they've had some injuries, and again, so many mistakes, and it just seems like a team in turmoil. And I work with a guy, Mac. He's part of the Rams club. He's a booster. He goes to all the football and basketball games. And this guy is just distraught about this football team, especially the way that it's been. And he's not talking to him. He's not confident at all. He likes to go to these games, and he told me that even if he had a ticket to go to this game, he don't think he would go because he thinks he just doesn't have a good feeling. So
really,
I'm gonna go Syracuse.
For them to clear 10.5. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think we put up too many points. So.
All right. Well, UNC did fall to the Hokies 22-19 Saturday night. The Tar Heels rushed for 235 yards and 38 carries against Virginia Tech. Michael Carter, 18 carries for 165 yards. That's 9 yards a rush. That's crazy. So, before the UNC game, Virginia Tech's run defense only allowed 503 yards for the entire year. That's an average.
Wow.
That's an average of 3 yards, 8 touchdowns the whole year, and 100 per game. Before the Virginia Tech game, UNC's rushing offense was ranked 63rd. After the game, they moved up to 48th with a total of 948 yards on the year, 6 TDs, and now they're averaging 189.6 as opposed to 178.3 they were actually averaging before that. Anyway, so Syracuse's run defense currently sits, after these games have been played and everything cycled through this week after the bye, they sit at 91st in the country, the run defense. They allowed 1,081 yards the entire season, 4.6 average per run. They've allowed 11 TDs all year with an average of 180 per game. Okay? So, we're back to the same old thing. 91st, we're only looking at 130 teams.
Yeah.
So...
obviously you see it. And we talked about it the last podcast. That's the one thing that I am afraid of. That's Michael Carter. I have watched him, and he is pretty impressive. I'm not going to lie to you.
But you think that they're such a misfit club that, as you said, they can't even get out of their own way. They should have won that Virginia Tech game, but there was too many turnovers in that game.
Dude, they had 522 yards of offense and scored 19 points.
Right, they can't score. That's their problem.
Right, they have turnovers. They have penalties. Timely. They lost 3 fumbles.
It's the band of misfits.
There's just a lot of stuff going on with that whole team, and not only were they inexperienced to begin with, and this year, they just started off bad. So many players got suspended because they sold team shoes, and one of their best.
That's crazy.
They had a 4-star receiver that was supposed to come in and start right away, and he got drafted in the MLB draft and just decided he'd rather go play baseball than come play for North Carolina football. Like that kind of weird stuff. Now they lost a couple games early. They lost to in-state rival Eastern Carolina. Yeah, none of the Power 5 teams that are in North Carolina want to lose to Eastern Carolina or Appalachian State or any of those teams.
Right.
And they did. And so, there's been people calling for Fedora's job. There's been people that have been getting injured. Their quarterback from last year, Chaz Surratt, he was part of the guys that were part of the suspension for selling shoes, and now he's out for the year. Again, talking to my coworker, he said that this kid, Cade Fortin, he's a true freshman. They started him last week, and then he came out at halftime with crutches, and I guess he tore his ACL. So they're going to have to go back to Nathan Elliott. I don't know how many fresh guys they have. He's not, from what my buddy told me, he's not a great passer. And again, it's been ugly for him this year. And I just, to bet that that's going to turn around, to me is kind of, that's why I went Syracuse.
After a tough loss going into
especially after a tough loss when that's kind of like, your season and you're trying to start something new, and then the guy gets hurt and you got to bring in the old guy that nobody liked, and now you're going to go to Syracuse and we're off of a bye. You know what I mean? So
fresh legs. Hopefully Dungy's rested that shoulder a little bit.
Right. And really, when you look at it, when you look at the stats, it's kind of staggering. Like, you look at Syracuse, we averaged 462 yards a game. North Carolina averages 406. But we average scoring 43 points a game to their 20.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then we've averaged allowing 25 points a game, and they've allowed 33.8. I read something somewhere. I don't know exactly what the stat is, but they've given up a ridiculous amount of touchdowns, like over 35 yards. So I don't know if that's a secondary thing. And again, like we talked about all week from last week, we've had 2 weeks to get ready for it. There's no way in my mind that we can't figure out something with this whole run game. And I know we talked about missed tackles, this and that, but they got to try something different. And again, this is another team that comes in that's got kind of an inefficient passing game, and they got to try something different.
What do you think? What do you think a new look to the defense would be, in your opinion? I mean, you're just spitballing here, but I'm just saying.
Load the box.
So
just load the box. Just let them. I mean, you sometimes you got to take the good with the bad, and obviously you can see that this team, they kind of have gotten in their own way, right? And they only average 20 points a game.
Right.
So just like Monday Night Football last night, you go ahead and you let the team score. I'm not saying let them score, but you watch the Patriots all the time. Patriots at the end of the game, all of a sudden there's a big play, and so Kansas City goes up with 2.5 minutes. They come tie the game, and it's like, you gave them too much time. And what's been killing us is our offense hasn't been seeing the ball enough.
We've settled for some field goals, too, a bunch of times.
Yes, we have. And North Carolina is pretty good at giving people touchdowns. So that right there hopefully will help a little bit in trying to get some of those touchdowns. But I look at it more or less as like, hey, just stack the box. Make them do something. Make them beat you with a big play. If they beat you with a big play, your defense isn't on the field for so long, and then you get your offense back out there and you score. They can't sit there and score with us. What's going to kill us is if they sit there and they pound the ball and they run the clock down.
Yeah, the running of the clock is what that's what killed us against Pitt. That's what killed us against Clemson.
Exactly, and they don't have the depth at quarterback. They're not gonna, and the guy's not. They're not a prolific passer to begin with. He can make some throws, but
sure.
Just like what Pat Narduzzi said with Pittsburgh, he's not going to sit back and call a bunch of pass plays and let our defensive line just rush against them. And again, another perfect in an NFL analogy again, but Chicago Bears have been killing quarterbacks this year. And you watch this past week, what'd they do? Miami really didn't pass them. I mean, Brock Osweiler, he played okay, but they lined up and they ran the ball. They didn't allow the defensive line and the linebackers to get that rush and try to make havoc happen and get sacks and fumbles and, force interceptions and stuff like that. So they're going to try to be as vanilla as possible. And we talked about it, just like Pittsburgh. And that we have to stop that. We have to force them to beat us another way. And if that means just going man-to-man with one safety up and you put 5 guys on the line, bring a safety down in the linebacker spot, and you just do what you have to do.
Like running back spy?
Like a 5-2 with a safety ready to blitz, 8 people in the box. You got to do what you got to do. And from what I've seen from North Carolina and from what I've talked to my buddy about, who he's all about it, North Carolina, and he knows a lot about it. Talking to him today, I saw a guy that didn't think his team could go up and beat us. And he's watched every game. He's been to every home game this year. So, again, it's just one of those things where we just got to get over this hump and we got to figure out something different. We got to show our opponents that we can do something a little bit different. So you can't just show up and just run down our throat.
You can't just show up, be one-dimensional, and work us, milk the clock and just work the hell out of us. No. Our defense is hands on hips and, missing tackles left and right. You got to show the next opponent's coming up that, you at least have a game plan, whether or not.
Yeah. And if their receiver and their quarterback beats our corner 1-on-1, and they score a long touchdown or whatever, which our corners I think have been pretty good.
I'm confident in them. I'm confident in our corners.
Absolutely. So make them beat them.
Yeah.
Make them beat them, because we've proven the last game and a half that people just lining up against us and just run it down our throats can beat us. So make them beat us somewhere else. And if they do spring a long play, well, guess what? Now our offense is back on the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my take on it, man. They got some good guys. Michael Carter's, he's good, but you got to concentrate with what's going to beat you, and you got to do what you got to do. I don't care if you got to send the damn house, man.
It is going to be interesting to see what kind of adjustments they've made over the 2 weeks off, and also how Dungy comes out, because against Pitt he was off. That was probably his worst game in the whole year. So. be interesting. And
it's definitely one he probably wants back.
Absolutely.
And again, like we've talked about in nauseum, the fact that two plays and we could be undefeated.
Two fourth downs on defense.
We can't. 2 fourth down plays on defense and we could be undefeated. So I mean, if it's and buts and candy and nuts and whatever you always say, like basically, it comes down to you can't let that get you down. You just got to look at the next game and keep going. There's 2 losses. I saw some people on our polls saying they think we can go 9-3. 8-4 was a big option. So I think that for the silent majority that is confident in this team, they just got to keep going. And I truly believe that we'll have a good attendance this next week too.
Yeah, I think so too. Unless they got the trip to Beacon Skiff planned.
Beacon Skiff can wait. You can buy those at the store.
Beacon Skiff should have been this past weekend. It'd be snowing there soon. What the hell?
Right, exactly. That's almost like a huge, like a timely bye week.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, we left the Dome undefeated, and we went out and we gave it our all. A couple, plays here, a couple plays there, and now they're coming back for the second half of the season. And if you're a fan that really wants them to be something different than what they have been, then especially in the second half and in November, then show up and show your support.
Right.
Don't let this be another Pittsburgh.
Right. Yeah, well, we'll see, and it's going to be great. It's going to be interesting, and I can't wait for SU football to come back. And, top it all off, we're going to be double dipping here in a few weeks with basketball. Yeah. So, and then basketball's going to be full swing, and that's the best time for sports is this time of year, I think.
Yeah,
you got the NASCAR playoffs on. You got.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you also got to look at Syracuse. I don't think have we beaten North Carolina since we joined the ACC in basketball?
Not in basketball. Nope.
Well, then you know what? There it is, right there. There's your motivation. Here's your sign.
Yeah,
let's get them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, all right. We'll be back here maybe sooner than later. We had we are working on an interview with an author who just wrote a book. I think it's called In the Zone. And we might be back a little bit early for that, but we'll definitely be back at our normal time on Monday evening to record the post game for Pitt. So that's it. Thanks to James on guitar. Thanks to everybody who participated in the polls and comments and all that stuff. We love you guys. Appreciate it. Remember to get those reviews in if you can. Thanks to SpudMall5 and emails, cusemilitia@gmail.com. More Cuse Militia podcast is inevitable for Joe. I'm Sean. We're out.
Danger Zone.
This has been the Cuse Militia podcast with Sean and Joe. Be heard. Contact us on Facebook at Cuse Militia Podcast and tweet at us using #CuseMilitia.